All right. Let's see. Looks like there's a delay. Let's see. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. This is Xhyn Physics and Hobbies, and we're celebrating 4 years of Corpus Venn. Um, so I just want to make sure there's how many viewers at this point. Yeah, it looks like we're live. Yes. Well, um, Corpus Venn is a work that I've been working for several years. Its true beginnings actually was back when I was um, 10 years old or 9 years old, back in July of 1996. There is a video with the details of the history of the Corpus Venn, how it was written, um, how it how it started, but it was back in November 5th of the year 2021 when I first began writing and then eventually publishing 2 years later. So um, so it is truly a work that the reality is that you really cannot write a book overnight. You really can't. That means that when you put your ideas together and the ideas as a whole, they evolve over time, right? You don't wake up a morning, write something, and then on the next day you have a book. So it is something that indeed takes time and effort. And it's also helpful to read a lot of other books, to have a good habit of reading all sorts of things, to be an active um, and also watching movies or being aware of the things around you, like the media and so forth. You can filter because in the media you have things that might not interest you and you have other things that might interest you more. So you pass through a filter and you analyze and you take from the media, you take from the books that you read the things that are of value and you become creative because nothing can be done without a firm foundation. Everything should be done over something that already exists, relying on something. On the shoulder of giants, we can see further, we can innovate, we can create, we can progress. And that's really how all of that works. So, works of art is not something you do overnight. Writing a book, it's not something you do overnight. So, the beginnings of Corpus Venn go as far back as the late 90s when I was a kid, when I was 9 years old. But one thing to understand is that is that ideas evolve over time. It was back in 2021 where I got all of these ideas from back when I was a kid, from back when um, um, I spent time studying physics, and I also read a lot of books on philosophy on my own. And over time, I created this structure, which now I call it corpus Venn. Corpus means body, and Venn is the word inspired by Venn diagrams. It's the fact that you have elements within a grid. You have elements. So some elements on one, let's say we put elements in one circle, we put another set of elements in another circle. There are the overlaps that are the elements that are distinct for certain circles and so forth. So the corpus Venn was a name given to this literature that tries to explain the world and the universe through philosophy and physics, which is what I developed over time. It's still an ongoing process. A life without observation not worth living, like Aristotle, like Socrates said, an ancient Greek philosopher. So if you say that you've finished, or if you say that what you have is enough, or if you say that you're just satisfied with what you have, the result is that you start making progress. Same thing applies for all of humanity, for all of science. The importance that is to continue making progress, to continue the innovation and finding ways of survival, like, for example, world leaders coming together to discuss how to develop technology that will be less damaging to the environment, or trying to find ways to solve social problems, poverty, social inequality, and things like that. It is important to be aware of the need for innovation, the need for change, the need for making things better. Uh, so the Corpus Venn is a book that evolved over time. And the way I have it now, I have 8 volumes from Corpus Venn 1 all the way to Corpus Venn 8. Corpus Venn 8 was published earlier this year, but I've decided to stop on Corpus Venn 8 and give it some time. The work as a whole, the story, the mythology, the philosophy looks like it's finished, looks like it's it has been made. And what's interesting about it is that um, it was my attempt to put together all of my ideas. It was my attempt to put together everything that I learned from philosophy, but using my own words and having my own explanations for it. So, because everyone can read a book and have a different opinion about the book. And of course, if you want to try to understand the logos, the logi, if you try to understand all the different mindsets and perspectives, it is important for you to hear everyone's opinion so that you can include in those Venn diagrams. That's where the word corpus Venn comes from. It's it's the literature of of the elements within a grid, all the diversity, everything that you have all around you, which was the goal of the work. Um, right here, I have showing the PowerPoints that I actually went over on a video on November 5th of this year. 3 days ago, I published a video on YouTube where I go over this PowerPoints, these slides. And so if you're interested to know the details of the book and the history and so forth, you can always watch that video. Here I've decided to make a live to see if people would have any questions or anything of that sort. The actual video explaining the slides and the work is actually the one that I published on YouTube on the 5th of this year, 3 days ago, because that was when we celebrate 4 years of Corpus Venn. You have to understand that it was on that day that I've decided to put all the ideas together from for like more than 20 years, and then compile it into a single structure in a single volume called Corpus Venn. And that was the motivation for Corpus Venn 1. And then that was the motivation for all the volumes that came afterwards, all the way to Corpus Venn 8. And the most beautiful thing about writing is that it's a way of recording information. It's a way to it's a way of recording um, s- uh, like when you write, it's similar to when you generate a music, a song. It's something that gets frozen in time, and people 100 200 years from now, when they listen to the song, because now we have radios, now we can record song, or when people 200 300 years from now, they read a book written centuries ago, it's a way to say, it's a way to record information, it's a way to record a vibe, it's a way to record um, the 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 inspiration, which can eventually, of course, lead to something bigger in the future, which can eventually lead to more inspirations and even revolutions. For example, Newton's Principia He kept it for himself and then he published much later in life. And I'm not saying Corpus Venn is anywhere near that, but what I'm saying is that it's always important for us to record information, not just pictures or videos or songs, but also written information. That information that can be read. You have a connection with the ancient Greek philosophers when you read about ancient Greek philosophers. You have a connection with the Renaissance when you look at the paintings from the Renaissance, when you read the books written during that period. So this was the motivation for Corpus Vent, was to keep a record, to keep um, to keep it saved somewhere. Um, the a thought I had over time, and this was really the purpose and the motivation for it. So this then is a live. Like I said, it's actually my first live on YouTube, believe it or not. It's the first time that I've decided to do a live. I've been talking for 11 minutes already. I think I'm just gonna talk for another two and then I'll close and people can watch this later. I strongly recommend y'all watch the video I did over 3 days ago. And closing thoughts here, since I only have 2 more minutes. The closing thoughts here with regards to Corpus Van and philosophy is that um, there are so many books in the library, right? Some books are very popular, some books are not. Some books are just there, right? And some books are overlooked, others are given extreme attention to, but you have to understand that each book, each subject area, each author has a contribution among all the logi, among all the logos that comprise the cosmos. Each book is important because it demonstrates it explains a different perspective. It gives you a chance for another point of view. And if you add up all the points of view in this grid, in this universe, all the elements, you eventually get what we call all of the universe and the cosmos. And Corpus Vent tried to incorporate these ideas and put them all together into this structure.